What's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another video. I've decided to try something a little bit different. So in this new series I'm going to create, it's called The Gumbo. This one right here will be volume 1. Where did I come up with the concept of gumbo? Well, I came up with it because those of you who don't know me, I am from Biloxi, Mississippi. It's a small Gulf Coast town in Mississippi. I gotta cook. You feel me? So we cooking, we eating. This is like a hibachi type gumbo restaurant where at this restaurant, my restaurant called Chris's, Chef Chris will entertain you while also cooking your dish. So I know you smell the aroma of the several different meats that are cooking in the back. So I have people in the back who are grilling the food, cooking the sausage. If you're a vegetarian, we have different dishes. If you like it spicy, not spicy, a little bit of spice. We have several different seasonings that we will be able to accommodate your needs. So, as we know, gumbo is a popular dish down there. It's a African dish. Of course, it has its cultural changes on it, but overall, it's rice, seafood, sausage, a mixture of things. People add different stuff, crab legs, all kind of different things. So at this restaurant, I'm preparing all that type of different stuff. So please tune back, sit back, chill with wine, water, beer, and to no further ado, we're gonna dive right in. To live is to suffer. See, now when you say that, you say, I've heard this before. Well, basically, you're here on this earth as a baby, you grow up, and this is the environment that you are. So you're supposed to study it and learn about it. You are here. This is the only thing that we do know. So I just did a lot of searching on what is right, what is wrong. New Orleans, it has its own culture, which I love so much. Every time I go to that place, it's like an old time feel of like walking down the streets of the buildings and the red cobblestone streets. It's just like, it just takes you back. This is a city of the dead. So many spirits around there. It's just all kinds of things. But it's just gives you that old time feel. And see, they're like one of the only places where they actually do it the reverse way, which is how it's always been. How it's always been since the beginning of time, which is when a person used to be born, people would wear black. They would cry out. They would be sad. They would, man, like, and you're thinking, look at me crazy, like, Chris, what? Are you serious right now? Are you dead serious? Do you mean to tell me that people literally put on black and cried when babies were born? Like, yes, people literally did that. They literally cried, boo-hooed for days. Of course, they changed Pampers and did milk and all the things because that's always existed of how babies were born. But then they cried and were wearing black. Those who know about the New Orleans effect know that when people pass on in New Orleans, that they party and dance in the streets, and they have lines like the first, second, and third line of people dancing, and all that different stuff taking them to rest. And that's how it's supposed to be, because to live is to suffer. See, they cry for the baby because they're thinking about the suffrage that's going to come with living, because it's something that will not be able to be avoided, period. You're not going to be able to avoid suffering, no matter how much money you have, because we've seen this story multiple times. Human beings who have, as we say, made themselves the best version of themselves, and they kill themselves. They have all the material gain that one would only dream to have. They make, in one setting, a person's annual salary. but they are completely unhappy. Completely unhappy. It makes you wonder. But it's simple. To live is to suffer. Now the question is, how do you overcome that? There's a very real universe. Is a judger of us spirits. Because at the end of the day, you have to come to grips that although we are in this fleshly clay, we are a spirit at the end of the day. That rhymes. I wasn't trying to make it rhyme. But it's true. Anyone who's watching this, regardless of the color of your skin, your ancestors said so. If you are of Roman descent, then therefore you are part of the European tribes that were the clay and pieces of iron that spread across, which was known as Persia, Mesopotamia, Babylon. So to live is to suffer. Now where did I learn this from? Over my times of traveling and searching for the spiritual things. I learned that from what the monks, the Buddha, the Tibetan religion. It's to live is to suffer. It truly is. And then it takes me back to, as we were talking about earlier, of the people, mother, father, relatives, friends and family, crying when this baby is born. And it takes you to that suffering. The question is, how do I go about dealing with this suffering as a virtuous path? See, people like to confuse rational and virtue together, knowing they're not the same things. See, a rational person can understand that there's a Most High God, that it's possible that we have a Maker. They may not know if it's true, but they're like, it's possible. I don't see why not. One omnipotent being couldn't have created me and everyone else. I don't think it's not possible. I just don't believe that the book they say it's in is the right book, or that this, that, and the third is rational. I think it's possible. And that's the definition of rational. It says having, reasoning, or understanding. Then you add in, as I said, virtue, or virtuous. Virtue is like, as I looked up several definitions, is a beneficial quality. It's being comfortable standing in the right of something, of a standard. So that's what I was saying. It's like, that's how, in order for you to overcome things, you have to live right within the standard. Because it's very important now, more than ever, that we begin to think about these paths. We begin to think about what path are we really on. Are we on a virtuous path, willing to stand for something? Are we on a rational path, willing to just understand and think everything's practical? See, because you understand and think everything is practical, then that is the problem. Because there is a certain standard. There's always been a standard. We have a moral standard. The moral standard is that, like I said, you know not to kill people. You know not to steal from people. You know not to do this. You know not to do that. You know not to lie on people. Matter of fact, don't you go to jail in this country for lying on people? Think here in Texas it's a law. If you lie on someone on the stand, lock you up. Think probably back in the old days, if you lied to the king, they chopped your head off. We just more civilized. I go back and I think to myself about the old times. And I say, this world has always been material. A material world. The only thing that's different now is that the material world that we live in now is so modernized that we have got in about as far as we can get. We have still other things we can do, like Jetson style, but as in communication. There's never been a time in history where we can communicate with everyone like a little bit quicker than that. Let me tell you again, there's no other time in history where you can get in communication with people on the other side of this map that I got right here. Like that. So now with that being said, it's very important that you, as I make this gumbo, you do it the same way that you'll do outside. Not really a fan of seafood. That's what someone would say. Me personally, I love seafood, but some people will say I don't like seafood. So that means that I wouldn't put any seafood on your gumbo. Same thing goes for saying that you have to think about that as in with your everyday process, that you have to not consume certain things within your diet because it will cause you to not want to walk and live a virtuous life. You will rather be rational. You'll rather give in. A lot of rationalists, a lot of being rational. And I'm not saying being rational is good or bad. I'm just saying it doesn't outweigh being virtuous because you stand in the standard of truly walking it the right way. So now, since you're wondering what I'm getting at, so what am I getting at? What is the best definition that I could possibly give you to where you could leave away from this message understanding with the seasonings that I'm showing you right now? Because right now I'm about to begin to cut this chicken up and start to season it. So get ready for this season. And I'm cooking some separate chicken, so some of y'all are going to get some good seasoning. Some of y'all are going to take a little bit from the seasoning. So we're going to really get into it. Now, with the seasoning being dropped on it, because this gumbo, I'm going to put my foot in it. The question that I begin to ask people, if, let's say, for instance, Nazi Germany won the war. Now, in winning the war, after defeating Europe and the Americans, they then get in their boats and planes and come across to America. The Japanese all do the same thing. Please, no one get offended. This is hypothetically speaking. Hypothetically speaking. Again, not to offend anyone. Just to put everyone in the mindset who is watching this video. I apologize if I offend you. Please turn it off if it's going to offend you, because I'm not trying to promote any hate or violence towards any race of people. I don't agree with doing anything like that. So if that's is going to bother you, please turn off the video now. And I thank you for your support for watching this from this moment forward. Now, anyone who's remained on the video, thank you. Now, Nazi Germany, Japan, and all of them completely still won the war, came across the waters, did whatever, fought with us, and took over everything. Now, all of us from 1948 till now are all born under the Nazi rule. Now, a rational person, when they have the Nazi concentration camps up here at our jobs or whatever the case may be, because there they had certain tests and aptitude things they ran in Nazi Germany where to decide a person's smartness of where they would go in the military, or if the woman would be a nurturer, or if the woman would work over here in computers or whatever. They chose everyone's job. So that happens. So you, boom, you draw your job. You a prison guard, or Gestapo police checking after all the resistance people, rebel folks like me, who's rebel been against the system. You looking for me like I'm in my apartment somewhere making a video like this, and you like, your job is to hunt me down and kill me, or turn me into the people with the evidence, and then they decide lock me up, whatever the case may be. So we're in this under this rule. See, the rational thing would be to do, is because you would know no better, is to just continue on with the program, do whatever the Nazis are saying, and 95% of the people who's watching this, 95% of the people even myself included, who knows, under that kind of rule, would most likely follow the curve, doing the rational thing. What is rational? You're doing what's rational, because that's rational. It's with understanding, like, if I don't do it, then I'm going to get killed. So rational decision to stay alive would be just to do what they said. Now, the virtuous person and the rational person at the prison. That's why I'm using the prison. So at the prison, a person would get out of line. You have to shoot him, kill him, beat him up, whatever happened. Like, the offense is to kill him. You bam, kill him. Or he did something, bam, you kill him, whatever the case may be. Because you have the overall power over him. Then, you know, the virtuous person and the rational person. See, a virtuous person would be the people who would be either dead or they'll be hiding, waiting to die. Now, why do I say that? It's because virtuous, meaning under no rule will I subject myself to killing anyone. Now, see, why do I say this? Because I'm going to end it on a good note. So let's say now that a new regime comes, the resistance, me as leader, y'all as commanders, and people of different rank watching this video who remain watching it. You are people of rank now. You were in the military with me. We fought in the resistance, because that's what I am, Chris the Rebel. We fought in the resistance. We overcame Nazi Germany. They fell at our feet. Our fighting and your fighting. We did our Iwo Jimas. We did all of our different battles. We fought through the streets of New Orleans. We fought through the streets of Atlanta. We backed them off and made them go back around the water the second time over, like how the forefathers that built and came to this country or whatever stole it, all the stuff we know this country did. And now it's under a new rule. Now, being that we resisted against the things, and we know that all these people were a part of that, when we begin to judge these people on their crimes, because, you know, there's a Geneva Act. Geneva Act is a thing of virtue, where you don't beat a prisoner, you don't kill a prisoner, you don't this, that, and the third. Under that moral guideline and code, and it's written also in another book somewhere, and some of the people who read that book know that it says that you're supposed to treat your people that you take over as slaves, but you ain't supposed to mistreat them. Slim it down in another way. But when we begin to judge those people, they're going to say the rational thing of, I was just doing my job. That's what they told me to do. That's what I was getting paid to do. That was the rules of that time. But a virtuous code would be, no matter what that person did, I'm not going to shoot them in the head. I'm not going to stab them, cut their throat, whatever the case may be, just because I was told I had supreme reign or I had supreme power. If I did something to them, I could just be like, I don't know what happened. You know, it went off, the gun went off, or whatever the case may be. So, with that being said, that's the first little dish that we cooked up. I'm going to continue the series of gumbo. I thank you again for tuning into this video. And I'm going to continue to start making more videos more often, being more consistent. Just stick with me. Until next time, peace.